Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Cathy Chambliss on the show Marriage Works. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and this show is all about having healthy relationships, whether it's with your marriage, in your significant other, with your children, with your parents. And the show today has a wonderful author and guest. Her name is Tina Fuller. Tina began her professional career in the financial services industry. As an entrepreneur, she has owned and operated a word processing company and a custom gift basket business. Throughout her life, she knew that something was very flawed with the relationship with her mother. At 39, she discovered that her mother was narcissistic. She began her journey to healing by doing extensive research on narcissism, including a review of psychological studies, journals, books, videos, and the DSM-4. Tina realized that there were no books written from the survivor's point of view. This is what fueled her desire to write It's My Turn. She is healed and very passionate about helping others who are struggling to find answers to the many challenges of having a narcissistic parent. Tina brings her practical understanding of narcissism and her personal experience together to assist readers in understanding narcissism and how to gain control of their lives. Her 4-step program, P.A.C.E, P-A.C.E, clearly explains how to improve the overall quality of life. The book, It's My Turn, is available on Amazon worldwide and has sold over 2,400 copies. Thank you for being on the show, Tina.
Hi, Cathy, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, I just think this is a very, very important topic. You know, I focus my show talks not just about marriage, but about, you know, all the aspects that relate to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that I'm sure you know, since you're an expert on narcissism, but being married to a narcissist is extremely difficult and painful, and I'm imagining having a mother who's a narcissist feels very similar.
Yes. I would think it's almost worse in a sense, and not to say that it's not horrible to be married to one, but you look at a parent as kind of like your chalkboard of what you're, you know, supposed to look up to and try to learn from.
Right.
So
I always
it's
call
a little
your
bit
childhood your family of origin's your boot camp.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, I mean, what is narcissism and where does it come from?
Well, it's basically a person who is self-absorbed. Everything has to be about them, and they have no regard for other people's feelings. They don't have empathy for others. Everything has to revolve around them. And I believe that it comes from childhood trauma, whether it's real trauma or a perceived traumatic experience. I also believe that it may come from overindulgence, like spoiling a child, which creates entitlement.
Yes.
And it also may come from, honestly, from having a narcissistic parent, because as I said before, you look up to the parent and they kind of show you how to be, so that you can pick up the traits and begin to almost turn into that parent.
Yeah. So the word, I mean, there's a diagnosis, a psychiatric diagnosis for narcissism, but how does one know if they had a parent who's a narcissist?
Well, basically, you don't have any self-esteem. They're constantly putting you down. You know something's wrong, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. Everything revolves around them. Everything has to revolve around them no matter what it is.
Can you give an example of that?
Okay, for example, if you're sick and you're trying to explain, oh, I feel really bad, or if my back hurts or something like that, then, oh, you're fine. You're just faking it. Mm-hmm. They don't believe you because they will not allow you to be sick because everyone's attention has to be on them.
So they can't stand it, so they have to...
Right.
So in other words, like again, there's that lack of empathy.
Correct.
Okay. Can a narcissist change?
In my opinion, I would say no. Mm-hmm. Now, if you think of a stove, you've got low, medium, and high. Mm-hmm. So, and narcissists are similar. If you've got a really low-range narcissist, I personally believe that they could go to therapy and they may get some help on their behavior. However, it's minimal as far as the results go. But if it's a medium-range narcissist or high, there's no change in this because they won't even see that there's anything wrong at all. Mm-hmm. So that's my opinion on it. So when you mentioned the first question was, where does narcissist come from? You said a kid could possibly come. One of the reasons someone becomes a narcissist is childhood trauma. What types of trauma might create a narcissist? It could be abuse and neglect. It could be...
You mean where they weren't shown empathy, in other words?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or even just abuse as a child. It could come from any trauma. It could come from a trauma such as being molested by someone. They didn't tell their parent and they stuff it. They don't tell anyone. They hide it. Mm-hmm. So it could come from something like that even. It could come from parents divorcing, which is traumatic for a child.
Yes.
But then take it another step, which would be the child thinks, oh, my gosh, my parents don't love me. It's my fault. Mm-hmm. And they may take that as causing I caused my parents' divorce. And then all that trauma goes inside, and they don't get it out. They don't talk it through. They don't get help. And I believe that that's where something like narcissism could develop from.
Mm-hmm. And you'd also mentioned maybe some kids are overly entitled or spoiled.
Right. They are given too much. There's too much done for them. And I honestly believe, a lot of people believe that children who are overindulged expect more. Well, Mom will do it, or Dad will do it. I don't have to do it. Why should I have to do it? And then here comes your entitlement, and you just take that on into adulthood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that you deserve certain things.
You deserve it, exactly.
You don't have to earn it or work for it.
Right.
So why did you write your book, the book It's My Turn?
When I decided to write it, I thought, I have learned so much. And I realized when I first discovered that my mother was narcissistic, I felt so alone. Is there anybody in the world like me? And I thought, well, I've learned so much, I need to share this with other people and help them to see they're not alone and help them to feel validated. This is a real thing. This is not just something, that's been thought up somewhere because it sounds good. This is a real abuse. And I just remember that feeling of being so alone. And I want to reach out and help other people to heal, because you can heal from this with a lot of hard work, but you can heal from it.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you come up with the title, It's My Turn?
Because I felt like my mother was very engulfing, and she just micromanaged everything I did. So I felt like, okay, it's my turn to live. You've lived my life long enough, so now it's my turn to live. And that's how I came up with that title.
Is that a symptom of a narcissistic parent, that they're very controlling?
Yes, it can be. There are several different types, but they can be controlling and micromanage everything you do. They want to know everything. Then there are other types who are completely abandoning, and they don't just go, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Uh-huh.
It can go either way, and some flip back and forth.
Right. How does having a narcissistic parent affect a child?
The child grows up feeling like they're never enough. They can't do anything right. It's not good enough. And the parent will destroy any chance of the child developing a healthy sense of self-esteem or self-worth. And then the child also grows up feeling unloved.
Wow, that doesn't sound like much fun.
Oh, it was not. It was really horrible, actually.
Did you have brothers and sisters that were also?
I had, at the time, I have 3 older half-siblings, and then I had a whole brother who was almost 2 years older than me, but unfortunately he passed away in 91, who, right before he died, I do believe he had started to figure out something's not right here, and he actually figured out some of her characteristics and behaviors, but hadn't pinpointed anything. He was very ill. And as he was dying, we would go visit him in the hospital, and he would turn to me and say, "She's going to cry now." And sure enough, she'd start crying. Next thing you know, she's going to get mad and run out of the room. And that's exactly so he started to figure her out. He just didn't know what it was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as far as narcissism and a child being impacted by it, do children of narcissistic parents, are they able to develop empathy?
Oh, yes.
Maybe overly so.
They can, yes. They try, some children turn into taking care of everything. They want to fix everything.
Yeah.
They take on everyone's
because
problems.
They want approval.
Exactly.
So you state that children of narcissists usually fall under one of 3 categories: the conformer, the rebel, and the runner. Can you explain what those are and how they...
Sure. The conformer, which is kind of what we were just talking about, that's the child that's going to try to fix everything for mom and dad. Oh, they're so upset. Let me try to see if I can make them smile. What do you need, Mom? Well, I'll get it. Or Dad, what do you need? And they try to fix everything for them. Unfortunately, that child becomes so enmeshed with the parent that there's almost like a brainwashing that goes on. It's like they're groomed or brainwashed into doing exactly what the parent wants them to do. And if they're not careful, they will get stuck in that for life. For example, I have a 74-year-old half-sister who is in that role, and it's very sad to watch because they never get out of it. That they're just in.
They're not able to set boundaries with people in a healthy way.
No, never. And then the rebel is the person who is fighting for their independence. They're trying to find out who they are, and a narcissistic parent won't have that. You have to do what I say, or it's my way or the highway kind of attitude. So, and they're usually the scapegoat of the family. They argue with the parent. Oh, everything's so-and-so's fault. And then the runner is the child that will move far away, as far away as they can. I'll call you on Christmas or your birthday, maybe once or twice extra a year, but they distance themselves. They don't know what's wrong necessarily, but there's definitely something wrong. They don't want to be involved in it, so they go 1,500 miles away or what have you.
Is one of those healthier than the others in terms of how they deal with it?
Well, honestly, the conformer, like I said, really never deals with it. The rebel and the runner can actually figure it out, and they can work together actually to support each other. Runner is great because you're away from it, but it's like a Band-Aid. If you don't face the pain of what's happened, then you really can't heal completely from it. That's my opinion again, but... and the rebel, of course, they're fighting for their independence.
And I'm imagining these become like defense mechanisms in other areas of life, too, like in romantic relationships. You probably... Because oftentimes what you learn in childhood with your parents, how to protect yourself, you do the same thing with spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends.
Absolutely.
So
I found myself doing that.
The runner is going to be a runner when they get married, right? They're going to want to take off and withdraw and do those kinds of things versus dealing with the real issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not that they can't, but if with, like I said, a lot of work, you can do it. But like you said, if you tend to do what you know.
Right. Well, you have to make a decision to do things differently and then learn.
Exactly.
And recognize when you're doing it and learn new ways of dealing with the feelings.
Exactly.
So, which one were you? Were you?
I started off as a conformer.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking really small.
Uh-huh.
Now, my brother, the one that died, he was a rebel the whole time. So I learned from him. As I got older, it didn't feel right. Things weren't right. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But I learned from my brother, and I was actually a rebel at heart. I would hide things from her so that I could be myself. And as I got even older, in my 20s, then I started to really rebel. And as I said, I didn't figure out what was going on unfortunately, until I was 39. But I would have to classify myself as a rebel.
Uh-huh. And how would that show up in your relationship with your mother?
Constant arguing.
Oh.
Because they're trying to tell you what to do and control every aspect of your life, yours and your family.
Give an example of that.
You argue.
As an adult, like what would be an example?
That I'm not raising my children correctly, or
unsolicited advice.
Anything, yes. Whatever comes to mind, they will tell you what they think is wrong with you or your house, anything, whatever comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Somebody was just telling me about a situation like this the other day about their mother-in-law. And I said, it sounds like narcissism to me. Just go look it up and educate yourself a little bit about that. So I may have to give them your book. So you would so she might give you unsolicited advice as an adult, and you and her would argue because she would never be able to see your perspective. I'm imagining.
Right. That's right.
What about
would be
setting
wrong.
boundaries with narcissists? If you say, Mom, I appreciate your opinion, but I really don't want unsolicited advice, so please don't do that. Are they able to honor boundaries at all, or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Boundaries are very, very important, though. They would just, the example you gave me, they would say, how dare you tell me what to do, what not to do.
Shame
I'll
you.
tell you, I'm the parent.
Even as an adult.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. How dare I have a thought of my own kind of thing. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, is that, well, I try to place boundaries, but they won't respect them. Well, of course they're not going to respect them. They're a narcissist. But you must keep going. Don't give up. You have
so that's a challenge for people, because what happens, I know myself as a therapist, and I do a lot of work with boundaries with people, because many families don't grow up with healthy boundaries for various reasons, not just narcissism, and, with abuse and addiction and all those kinds of things. And so people don't have to learn as adults, what is a boundary? How do I set a boundary? How do I take care of myself in relationships? And it is really hard if you're dealing with a narcissist, because like you said, if you try and set a limit with them or state a boundary or do some self-care, they're oftentimes not going to respect that. So you may get to a place, I'm imagining, where you have to say, I'm sorry, I can't have you over anymore, because I've asked you to do this 3 times, I say 3 strikes and you're out, and you still aren't honoring it. And do you see that that's what a lot of adults end up having to do with their parents, like really limit the interactions with them? Yeah, and or no interaction, I'm imagining. Some people go to no interaction.
And that's what I was just going to say. And sometimes, like for me, I had healed myself, but I realized I still had a little bit more work to do. So I wound up going no contact to finish my healing process, because there's so much drama and so much chaos when it comes to narcissists. I needed the time away from that to actually focus on me for a change. Yeah. And that worked out the best for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm imagining a lot of people get to that place, and hopefully they are seeking treatment too at the same time.
I didn't, unfortunately.
You did?
I did not. When I finished my book, I was afraid that I would get sued. So that was the one thing I couldn't get past, and I did seek therapy for that, and wound up brushing up on a couple other things too. So it all worked out really well.
Good. You have a 4-step program called P.A.C.E, P-A.C.E. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. It's the 4 steps that I went through to heal. And the first one is P, protect yourself. If you know you're going to speak to your narcissistic mother or father, you need to protect yourself emotionally. And what I did was I would, imagine I had a rubber suit on or something, or cement in front of me that she could not penetrate.
That's a good idea.
No matter what she said, she wasn't going to get through to me. So that was...
That's the P is protect. We're going to take a break and come back and find out what the ACE stands for. This is Cathy Chambliss, licensed marriage family therapist on the show Marriage Works on HealthyLife.net. We'll be right back after the break.
The Power of Two. Cathy Chambliss, MFT, helps you recognize and achieve the power of two in a happy, healthy marriage. Imagine communicating and being heard and understood, handling conflict effortlessly, and feeling like you are in love for the first time, even after infidelity and affairs. You can reclaim and maximize your power of two with Cathy Chambliss's Couples Therapy. Don't wait. Call Cathy now at 310-303-9132. That's 310-303-9132. Or visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
If you want to find out more about Cathy Chambliss, MFT, and her practice, then visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Discover the different kinds of counseling that Cathy has for you to build healthy, happy relationships. She focuses on individual counseling, marriage counseling, couples therapy, even infidelity and affairs. Practicing in Hermosa Beach, serving the South Bay. Visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Find out how Cathy may be able to help you at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
Want help quitting smoking? Try Premium e-cigarettes. They have an outstanding range of nicotine alternative products. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Premium e-cigarettes.
Even one person can change the dynamics of their troubled marriage. Cathy Chambliss, MFT, can help you improve communications with your partner, handle anger, and even build your self-esteem to improve sex and intimacy in your marriage, even if your partner does not want to participate. Counseling can help you reach your goals and help you reach a more fulfilling life. Call Cathy Chambliss and book your appointment now. Call 310-303-9132. That's 310-303-9132. And you'll be glad you did.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
And we're back. We're talking to Tina Fuller. She's the author of the book, It's My Turn, How to Gain Freedom from a Manipulating and Self-Centered Parent. And we're talking about narcissism today. And she's talking about this 4-step program she discusses in the book called P.A.C.E, about how to deal with some of these issues if you have a narcissistic parent. And you said P stood for protection.
Right.
And what does the ACE stand for?
Okay. The A is accept. And what I mean by accept is not accept the abuse, but accept that your parent actually has a personality disorder. And that sounds really easy, but it's not at first. You really have to take the time to think this through and learn about it and understand this person is my parent, but they actually have a disorder. Mm-hmm. So that's what the A is for, accept that your parent has a personality disorder.
All right. And then, were you able for yourself to have empathy for your mom at some point, that she had something that maybe she didn't have the ability to change?
Not at first, and that's why the acceptance part is a big step.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you have to understand they didn't choose this.
Right.
Yeah, so you have
to be a narcissist.
Right. Nobody would choose that life. Trust me.
Well, because it makes it how you can't ever really have healthy relationships.
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so acceptance is a huge piece of this. But that doesn't come right away. It does take time.
Yeah.
And healing is a process. It's not something, oh, okay, they have narcissism, I'm fine. No, it doesn't.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I would imagine for most people that you have to put yourself, that you have to grieve the loss of the parent you wish you had.
That's absolutely what I was going to say. And then next, take it another step is you're not ever going to have a good relationship with them.
Right.
So that's part of the acceptance as well. And then change. You have to change what you're doing, even though they're the one with the problem. You have to change how you react to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's...
and so what do you do? How do you change? I mean, I know we talked about boundaries.
You have to place boundaries. You have to stop arguing and stop fighting. Stop trying to show them. But it's this way, Mom or Dad. I didn't do that. Stop doing that.
Because they're never going to see your perspective.
I'm sorry?
Because they're never going to be able to see your perspective.
Exactly.
So you're, like, wasting your energy.
You're beating your head against the wall. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And then the last step was E, which is empower yourself, which that's what I meant by set boundaries. You have to, at least some people, I did myself, I had to build self-esteem because I had zero, if not in the negative, which takes a lot of work. So you empower yourself.
Absolutely. But it's doable. That's the good news.
Right, and there's where also therapy comes into play. Again, I probably should have gone to therapy instead of, I probably would have healed a lot faster. But again, I did this on my own because I didn't know anybody else even really understood where I was coming from. I just wrote things down and went through the process on my own.
How did you learn about narcissism? I mean, you said at 39 you kind of figured all this out.
Yeah, I had a neighbor, and we were talking, and they mentioned the word narcissism, and I'd heard it. You hear it all the time on television. Oh, this person is one, that person is one. And I laugh nowadays because I'm like, they really don't know what that means. They're just using the word. But I went home, and I got on my computer. I said, I'm going to look this up. I keep hearing it. So I looked it up, and I'm sitting there at my computer, and all of a sudden it was like somebody, fireworks started going off. I'm like, oh, my goodness, this is the answer. So that's how, and I just started to dive into everything I could find or read on narcissism.
That must have been like very breaking out of jail for you. I mean,
it was.
Because you finally realized, wait a minute, there's not something wrong with me.
That's right, because a child of a narcissist feels everything is their fault. If I was just a better son or a better daughter, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Or if I could be like my older sister or brother or what have you, this wouldn't be happening.
I'm listening to you speak about this, and, I grew up in an alcoholic home.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was an alcoholic, and although I don't think she was a narcissist, there's a lot of narcissistic qualities that go along with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar. The whole idea of, your feelings don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even people that grew up with addictions can learn about narcissism or narcissistic qualities. They may not. Their parents still may have been able to have empathy, but when they're drunk or using drugs all the time, they're checked out, so they're not empathetic.
That's right.
Yeah. So, so the P.A.C.E program is something that you've kind of put yourself through.
Absolutely. I wrote as I was healing. I don't know why, but I just started writing down things, and I just kept a journal basically just for this. I even went back and listened to some recordings from reel-to-reel recordings from when I was a child, and went through all of that. I could hear my voice. I could hear my parents, my brother. So I got to almost relive, which was very painful at times, but I almost got to relive and analyze what all of this meant.
Right.
And I could actually hear my voice.
Well, it was kind of like backup proof. You weren't just making this up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how does having a narcissist affect family relationships?
Well, when you have this kind of family dynamic, and the narcissist is always at the head of it, you have some family members that are going to say, yeah, I knew something was wrong with them. Or you may have family members, I don't want to get involved, I'm sorry to hear that, but, I'm not going to get in the middle of this. And then you have enablers who are supportive of the narcissist for their own reasons. It could be being afraid they're going to get cut out of a will, or being manipulated themselves by the narcissist, such as spouses. So it can really have a pretty huge effect on a family, and you can lose relationships because of this.
How did your dad deal with your mom?
Well, when I discovered it, I told him, and he said, well, I knew something was wrong with her, but I don't think he could grasp it because at the time he was like 70-something. Mm-hmm. And then he turned and he said, don't you tell your mother because she's not going to accept this. He's been with her for 55 years now. He would make it one day at a time, basically.
How did he deal with her? I would imagine, like, being married to a narcissist, a lot of people just kind of shut down.
He did in some respects, and I have figured out why he stayed with her. He had his own issues.
Yeah.
And I know what they are, so I understand it, but I still have had several conversations with him explaining why it's this way. I'll give you a quick example. Went up to see him for his birthday last year. It was his 80th birthday, and I knew going that she was going to have an utter fit because he was getting attention. He was getting a present. She doesn't. And she basically tried to throw us out of the house. So
she basically, what did you say?
Tried to throw us out of the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I remained calm. Luckily, he followed suit. And then when we got out, he kept shaking his head. I just don't understand. She's been behaving. I said, Dad, behaving? Listen to what you're saying. And I said, I totally expected this. And he said, but I don't get it. She's been, or he'll tell her, you better behave because I don't want any problems. And he's gotten into this pattern with her. He knows exactly what to say and what to do to survive.
Yes.
And that's what he once told me. I look at her face in the morning and I know what kind of day it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's how he's survived.
Well, I would think, too, I'm just imagining being married. If I were married to a narcissist and I had children with them, there would be a part of me that would want to stay married to protect the children.
He didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't know.
He was, no, and he also worked very long hours. He worked for a grocery store. And there were some days I wouldn't see him for a day or two because he would come home by, 2 in the morning and have to get up and open the store at, 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It didn't get much sleep. Now, sometimes I'd go with him because I was able to spend time. That was the way I could spend time with him. So he didn't really know the full effect.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is Cathy Chambliss on Marriage Works on HealthyLife.net.
Even one person can change the dynamics of their troubled marriage. Cathy Chambliss, MFT, can help you improve communications with your partner, handle anger, and even build your self-esteem to improve sex and intimacy in your marriage, even if your partner does not want to participate. Counseling can help you reach your goals and help you reach a more fulfilling life. Call Cathy Chambliss and book your appointment now. Call 310-303-9132. That's 310-303-9132. And you'll be glad you did.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. P.A.C.E. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
If you want to find out more about Cathy Chambliss, MFT, and her practice, then visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Discover the different kinds of counseling that Cathy has for you to build healthy, happy relationships. She focuses on individual counseling, marriage counseling, couples therapy, even infidelity and affairs. Practicing in Hermosa Beach, serving the South Bay, visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Find out how Cathy may be able to help you at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
Peri-Berry, unique quality products for everyone in your family, children, men, and women. Plus, they have great products for the home, gift cards, and sales items. Visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on the Peri-Berry banner now.
The Power of Two. Cathy Chambliss, MFT, helps you recognize and achieve the power of two in a happy, healthy marriage. Imagine communicating and being heard and understood, handling conflict effortlessly, and feeling like you are in love for the first time, even after infidelity and affairs. You can reclaim and maximize your power of two with Cathy Chambliss's couples therapy. Don't wait. Call Cathy now at 310-303-9132. That's 310-303-9132. Or visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
And we're back on Marriage Works. This is Cathy Chambliss, licensed marriage family therapist, and I'm talking to Tina Fuller. She's an author of a book called It's My Turn, and it talks a lot about narcissism and having a narcissistic parent, and most importantly, how to heal from having a narcissistic parent. So, Tina, what was one of the hardest steps of healing for you personally?
I think realizing that my mother never loved me. For me personally, that was the hardest. I eventually got to a point where I understood that she was incapable of it, but really the reality of, my mother never loved me, that was hard for me. Yeah, but, and that, and it's, I have empathy for you, but I also have empathy for your mom that she never has had that experience. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do now, of course. I feel, really, really bad for her because she has no happiness. Everything she complains about and wants and desires is because she doesn't get because of the narcissism. That's what's really sad. Yeah. But you don't get to that right away. It takes time to get to that point of understanding and feeling sorry for them. Yes. Oh, yeah. I would imagine it. So in your opinion, where do most people get stuck in the healing process? A lot of people, and I have a Facebook page, and it's called the Narcissistic Parent Answers, and I have a lot of people on there, and just in talking with them, a lot of people get stuck in anger. I want revenge. I want them to see what they've done. Now, I felt the same way, but that wasn't the hardest place for me, but I do find that a lot of people want to get revenge, and you're not going to get it. It's just not going to happen. And you're wasting your time. And it's not healthy either. But I would imagine going through the anger is part of the grieving process. Absolutely. Absolutely. You definitely have to feel the anger. Isn't a good idea. What's that? But revenge isn't the best idea, but feeling those feelings of anger. And, underneath anger is really hurt. It's pain. It's sadness. Absolutely. And giving yourself permission to feel those feelings. And I think, like you said, therapy is such a wonderful place, a safe place to be able to do that. Yeah, because you have to let that anger go. If you don't let the anger go, it's going to take its toll on your health. Yeah. Yeah, you have to let that go. So what happens when you have children knowing that you have a narcissistic parent? In my opinion, I feel that you should protect them. For example, I would never leave my kids alone with her for any extended period of time. Like even visiting, we would go, and I'd stay within earshot of what's being said, so that I could counteract it or step in and say, no, now we don't believe that. That's not how people are, and try to balance things out.
Mm-hmm. So limiting the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because a narcissistic parent equals a narcissistic grandparent. They're not going to love your kids more than they loved you, or
no.
It just isn't.
But I would
happen.
imagine that narcissistic grandparents don't have that much interest in being around grandchildren.
Oh, not necessarily.
No?
Some of them do, because, well, my relationship with my son or daughter failed, so I'll just go after their kid.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. So why do so many adult children fear becoming like their narcissistic parents?
Because a lot of times, with any environment wherever you grow up, you end up talking like your sibling or your parent, or certain little sayings everybody says, or certain little things they do, and you pick up traits. Now, unfortunately, with a narcissist, you can pick up bad traits.
Yeah.
And you hear your mother's voice or your father's voice coming out, or their anger, or what have you, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm turning into them. So it's a real fear. You don't want to turn around and do the same thing to your child that they've done to you.
Yeah.
So it can be very scary.
How do you learn about, I mean, I'm imagining, like we talked about earlier,
mm-hmm.
that there's these different roles that children of narcissists can take on.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it doesn't mean that because you have a narcissistic parent that you're going to become a narcissist, right?
Right.
Okay. I think
it does
really
not mean that at all.
Yeah. In fact, like you said, you can become a conformer where you're too enmeshed
mm-hmm.
or empathetic.
Right.
Which isn't healthy either.
No. And they tend to, I mean, from what I've seen, in my opinion, a lot of conformers do take on a lot more of the traits because they are enmeshed, and they'll say exactly the same thing word for word that the narcissistic parent will say because they trained them to be that way. They've groomed them. This is the way you should be. How do children of narcissists
learn to be empathetic?
I'm sorry?
How do children of narcissists learn to be empathetic?
That's a really good question. I think because we get out into the world and we see how other people are, mm-hmm. and we really want that, mm-hmm. and your interactions with other healthy people can bring that out. You can have examples of somebody. You might have an aunt or an uncle or
a teacher,
a friend's mother or something like that. I think they learn that way.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, I always tell parents, like, you know, I'm a big fan when I work with couples and I work with parents of teaching them how to be an empathetic listener and what mm-hmm. that looks like and what that sounds like. And it's a skill, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can learn, I mean, it's not a skill if you can't feel the empathy, right, like a narcissist, but you can learn to use the right words. The problem is a narcissist doesn't have the motivation to do this.
Well, and some of them, once they become really good at it, actually do learn the words. They'll even tell you, I love you with all my heart, when in fact that's just a phrase they learned so that they can get whatever it is they're after.
Uh-huh.
And that's where people get confused. Oh, but they said they love me and they believe that. And no, they don't. Mm-hmm. It's just to get what they want.
Yeah. But I think that comes out in other ways because, like you said, there's mm-hmm. so many circumstances where you can see the lack of empathy.
Right.
So, but I always tell parents, like, how do you teach empathy to your children? By being empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And not just using the words, but expressing, you know, showing empathy, not just to them, but to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Be an example.
Right.
Did I ask you this about why many children fear becoming like their narcissistic parents?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. Does your mother know about your book?
She did find out, and what was funny is I dealt with the fear, luckily, before she did find out.
Uh-huh. Okay, good.
But I believe, and if narcissistically is a word, I believe she changed it around, and at this point she probably feels like, oh, my daughter wrote a book about me. You know, she was very angry, mm-hmm. refused to read it, and I had set boundaries when she found out, told her that I will not be discussing this with you. The book is not about you. It does have examples, but it is not about you. and this is as much as I'm going to discuss it with you. But she wanted to know why I wrote all those lies, and then, I just reiterated, I will not be discussing this with you.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that conversation.
So what type of relationship do you have with her now that you are healed?
It is completely and utterly the opposite of what I had as a child. I will go in and see my parents, and I have my boundaries, and I stick to them very calmly. No arguing.
Wow, that's awesome. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this.
Okay.
This is Cathy Chambliss on Marriage Works, and we'll be right back.
The Power of Two. Cathy Chambliss, MFT, helps you recognize and achieve the power of two in a happy, healthy marriage. Imagine communicating and being heard and understood, handling conflict effortlessly, and feeling like you are in love for the first time, even after infidelity and affairs. You can reclaim and maximize your power of two with Cathy Chambliss's Couples Therapy. Don't wait. Call Cathy now at 310-303-9132. That's 310-303-9132. Or visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
If you want to find out more about Cathy Chambliss, MFT, and her practice, then visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Discover the different kinds of counseling that Cathy has for you to build healthy, happy relationships. She focuses on individual counseling, marriage counseling, couples therapy, even infidelity and affairs. Practicing in Hermosa Beach, serving the South Bay. Visit her website at CathyChamblissMFT.com. Find out how Cathy may be able to help you at CathyChamblissMFT.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
And we're back. This is Cathy Chambliss. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist. We're talking to Tina Fuller. She's written a book about having a narcissistic parent and how to heal from it. And you were sharing right before the break about how you can go in and visit your parents now and be very calm and set boundaries. And how do they respond to you? I'd like to know more about that.
Mm-hmm. On occasion, she will be quiet. Other occasions, it just depends on her mood that day, I guess, and what the situation. For example, I mentioned going to see my dad on his birthday was a complete rage fest. She can be angry and yelling and slamming and just really lose it. And I, again, remain calm. I don't argue. I never argue with her ever, no matter what she says. And I just remain calm, reiterate my boundaries, or just let her know, no, we're not going to discuss this any farther, and we can talk about something else, or you can go inside and be angry, whatever you choose. And that's how I handle it. I kind of treat her like a child in a way, because they do have a tendency to act like toddlers sometimes. So I just, again, stay calm and don't argue.
So, and what do you feel towards your mom? I mean, what kind of emotions?
I feel sorry for her, not at the time I'm in it because I'm just focused at the time. But after I leave, and even now, I can think about it, and it's like so sad because they don't really live. They just, to me, they're in so much pain that, again, I said, everything they want they can't have because of the narcissism. So it's really sad.
Does she have a relationship? Like I'm imagining she doesn't really have friends either.
Oh, no. Their narcissist friends are people they can use. Mm-hmm. There's no real friendship.
Yeah.
No.
So what about, I mean, I know your book isn't about couples that are somebody who's married to a narcissist, but what do you suggest if a woman, and there's female narcissists too, I know, but a man or a woman finds themselves married to a narcissist, I mean, is the ultimate reality of dealing with it leaving?
Honestly, in my opinion, it depends on how much you can actually take. A lot of times people, for religious reasons or what have you, they don't want to leave because of children. But again, it's a personal decision. But my opinion is yes. Most likely it'd be best to leave. If it's a really low-range narcissist, you might be able to do it, especially if it's for religious reasons. But in my opinion, you're not going to fix them. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, and I would imagine most narcissists aren't really attracted to the idea of going to therapy.
Absolutely not. They tend to feel they know more than the therapist.
Yeah.
Or they'll go because they have to, whether it's court-ordered or the spouse has threatened to leave them, and then the narcissist is in fear of being rejected, and they'll, okay, I'll go. But they'll quit because once that therapist says something that hits a sore spot, I'm done, I'm out. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's too painful. And that's, I think, really where the end of the road is for them.
Why is it painful for a narcissist to get feedback from whether
they can't take any criticism,
their spouse or their child?
Yeah, they can't take any criticism. They can't be wrong. And in my opinion, again, people think that narcissists have these inflated egos and they just think they're so wonderful. This is all a facade. Really deep down, they feel inept. They feel broken. They feel damaged. Now, you will never know this, but that's what I believe.
Because they will never allow themselves to be that vulnerable to share that with somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So do they even have that awareness at all, or not really?
I can only speak for my mother. And I think what happens is, well, in my opinion, I think they bury, or what I call stuff, those feelings and whatever it is that's painful for them, that they believe they're lies. And they just continue on, well, that's not true. I never did that. I never said that. And then it becomes almost like a habit, and it just continues to get worse and worse and worse. Now, my mother didn't get worse. She's always been very high range. However, her stamina has decreased. She cannot argue as long. She cannot, because my mother's 94.
Wow.
Yes. And they tend to live a long time.
When you are raised by a narcissist, do you think there's a higher likelihood that you'll be attracted to a narcissist as a spouse?
I'm finding that is the case.
Yeah.
And I believe, now luckily, I must have been really fortunate, but I did not marry a man that was anywhere near a narcissist at all.
That's good.
Yes. Now, but I am finding in studying and personal experience, there are people that feel like they're like a magnet for them, but it's not. The problem is that's what you grew up with, and where people are attracted to what they know. It's like the old saying, the devil you know.
Yep.
It's like that. And unfortunately, you've got to, that's why I tell people always on my Facebook page, learn about narcissism so you can learn the signs, you can see it coming.
Right.
And see it as not a good thing, because it's like your mom or your dad. It's not a good thing. This is something where, oh, no, this isn't going to work. I need to stand up for myself and get out of the relationship before it's too late.
Yeah. And And you can't change people. I mean, it's hard. A narcissist can barely, I mean, like you said, most of them will never change. I mean, major personality disorders are really hard to change. Can it be done? Sure. A certain amount of change? Absolutely. If somebody's super highly motivated and willing to engage in the therapeutic process, yeah, but over a course of many, many, many years. But most are not. And so, you know, getting into a relationship with someone you hope can change is just, you know, you're signing up for a hard time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I always say my father deserves a trophy.
He deserves a trophy.
This long. 55 years is a long time.
Yeah. I mean, does your mom even say that she loves your dad? Can she say that?
Oh, with all her heart.
Oh. Huh.
With all her heart. Yeah.
Well, so what do you want readers to get out of your book when they read it? What's the important thing?
I want them to know that you can heal from this. It's not an overnight fix, and it is going to take time and a lot of effort and work on your part, but you definitely can heal from this and live a happy and healthy life.
Okay, that is so good to know. And can you let our readers know, I mean our listeners, not our readers, they would be readers to you. Our listeners know where they can get your book, and again, the name of it and where they can get it, and that Facebook page or your website.
Correct. It's My Turn by Tina Fuller, and it's on Amazon.com, and the Facebook page is Narcissistic Parent Answers, and my email is tinafuller@mac.com.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and what an important service you're offering people that have lived a life similar to yours with a narcissistic parent, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. And this is Cathy Chambliss signing off on Marriage Works on HealthyLife.net.